So finally, the moment has came, and today we are joined by Rinki Sethi, one of the most renowned professionals in cybersecurity, who has led security teams at eBay, Walmart, IBM, Ropers Inc., and Twitter, with decades of experience and now serving as Chief Security and Strategy Officer at Upwind Security. Rinki brings a wealth of insight and is building secure, resilient digital ecosystems. Now, let's jump into the conversation. Hello, Rinki. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's an honor to be here.
Oh my God, it's honor to be with you, definitely. And first of all, I want to congratulate you on your new role at Upwind. And while researching about you, I got to know that you have built and led security infrastructure for giants like Walmart.com, eBay, PG&E. So my first question to you would be, what has shaped your approach to cybersecurity leadership across such large and diverse organizations?
It's so interesting when I think back to eBay and some of my early roles. I was a security engineer at some of those
Yeah, I know
places, but
that.
this was very, very early, right?
Yeah,
In terms of just the industry, just the cybersecurity industry. My first job was at Pacific Gas and Electric, and there was no CISO. There's
yeah,
not that word was not well known, right? And so, but then eBay was kind of cutting edge in the like when you think about internet and e-commerce, they were paving the path early on. And so some of the very, very early attacks that we saw. At eBay were the earliest that we saw in the industry around social engineering and things like that. And what's interesting is when you're at companies that are really um, paving the path on the internet. And it's funny when you think about the internet because that seems like ages ago, but it wasn't actually that long ago. And when you think about the early innovators in that space, you realize that you have to then invest in cybersecurity innovation as well, because a lot of those companies were paving the path as well. And so one of the things that I feel as a leader now, having worked at Twitter and Bill and so many companies since then, is that the attackers are really sophisticated. They're leveraging the latest techs. And as cybersecurity leaders, we really have to invest in the innovation and look ahead to see what we're going to be adopting as security leaders in our existing companies. So to me, investing in that innovation ecosystem has been incredibly important.
definitely. Very well said. Because you know why I chose cybersecurity as a career. When I was just into college, I decided that I'm going to be a cybersecurity journalist or tech journalist. Because back in college, tech journalist was a somehow very popular, but cybersecurity journalist was not a very popular term that day. But now, when we are seeing reports, when we are watching reports and all those things happening around, once like 1 or 2 weeks ago, I read a report in which it was said that cybersecurity is going to be the top five industries, top five biggest industries in coming future. So I really believe that people like you and me are going to create the future and shape the future. So having said that, uh, also got to know that at Walmart, you led the development of $100 million security infrastructure. Is that right?
Yeah, I was an engineer at Walmart and we had a really small team. So there was Walmart and then there was Walmart.com. I
Yeah.
was on the e-commerce site. And we worked closely, if you think about it, like Walmart, the brick and mortar, and then there's the actual Walmart.com e-commerce site. And that was like that it was a company that was acquired by Walmart, and we were
Yeah.
building one of the biggest e-commerce sites. And so it was a very, very small team. I was one of two people. And the only reason that security team even existed was because, that's one of the Sam's Clubs early on. It was one of the early breaches around the payment card industry. And that's how PCI got started. And PCI mandated that every subsidiary have a security program. And so we were hired to build this. Little did we know at the time, this is what Walmart was going to become, right? And so or Walmart.com was going to become. And it was one of the biggest e-commerce platforms And we were seeing early attacks around site takeover and phishing emails that were leading people. And there were no products back then that could help you with that kind of problem, right? And so you literally were calling the ISPs and asking them to, hey, can you take down this site because it's a fraudulent website? And we had to do everything from that to like vulnerability management, like the entire security infrastructure for Walmart.com was led by a really small team. And so it was my very early days in cyber, kind of getting really hands-on and building out the security program for one of the largest companies in the world.
Great. So all this thing started happening back then only. Oh my God. So yeah, I really believe that you are. I have been following you since a lot of years. Now I know that why it all is happening because back then I don't know this story. So now I think you are the first one who is totally into cybersecurity whom I'm interviewing. So this conversation is going to be a great mental stimulation for me. So 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 now you also have a background as a developer, right?
That's right. I actually graduated with a computer science
Yeah,
degree.
I know that. I have researched everything about you from your childhood to everything, where you went and where you grew up. I have researched everything. And so that brings a unique perspective to your executive role. So how it has influenced your leadership style and decision making till now?
Yeah, so what I learned when I first started my career in cybersecurity, I actually didn't like it because I graduated as a developer and I was doing a lot of auditing type work, policy work, governance work. And I felt that as a developer, I graduated with such a technical degree and I was doing non-technical work. It was a few years later where I actually had a security engineering role, and I was tasked as a compliance requirement to go train developers on cybersecurity. And so I started off, I remember the first day we hired a company to help with the training. And we started off by going through the OWASP top 10 and going through the top things that they need to worry about. And I could see like the developers were literally getting bored. They were like, okay, here's another training we have to sit through. And so I told the company next day, we're going to pivot. Like, let's have them actually hack things. Like, show them how easy it is to go and hack the code that they themselves wrote. And this sounds crazy now because like this is how we train people now, but back then this was a very new concept. And it was because I had this passion on like I understand developers. If I was sitting in the room just getting trained on OWASP top 10, like I would get bored too, right? So how do we win the hearts and minds? You show them how it's done. You bring the data to them. And that I think has been the biggest thing that just preaching about cyber is not enough. You have to understand the business. You have to understand the people that you're training and get them win their hearts and minds. And so I think when I think about cybersecurity leadership, it's partnership with the executives, it's partnership with leadership, it's education, but it's winning the hearts and minds and setting the culture in the company to drive cybersecurity outcomes. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have that, you're just going to be another policy or another check the box thing that people have to do. And that's not what drives real championship of security.
I really believe you. I really believe you. And I really agree with you because it has happening in India also because cybersecurity was not a talk of the town until 2020 and until this AIMS got hacked. You know, AIMS getting hacked was a big thing in India after which we started talking about cybersecurity, but after which we really started taking cybersecurity for real. That our government started thinking that now threats are becoming real because in India, what the same you already I think you must have been in India and you must have been uh, following India's cybersecurity things, whatever we are covering and whatever is happening. But the thing and sometimes I believe India has lagged in cybersecurity. Why? Because uh, until this COVID came, we never just thought about cybersecurity as full-fledged thing. It was just part of IT. You know, back then it was just part of IT. But now, after this AIMS and all those healthcare attack and all this UADI attacks, now we have started taking cybersecurity seriously. And I also like you to come to India and lead our cybersecurity someday. So yeah.
I was actually just in India. back in December with my kids, actually. My son came for the first time, and one of my early speaking engagements was actually in India, in Bombay, where I came and spoke at a PCI summit that was happening. So it was a long, long time back, but I'm really impressed with the innovation happening in the Indian cybersecurity ecosystem as well. Been
Yeah.
following it very closely. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely have connections.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, you have received several accolades as well, like throughout your career, including the One to Watch award from CSO magazine and Executive Women's Forum. What moments or milestones do you feel contributed most of to these honors?
You know, I think back and like I can sit here and talk about like how I drive programs, but I think one of the most meaningful moments in my career, or meaningful moments, I should say, is when I'm able to give back into the community. Um, I was, I believe strongly in mentoring kids about cyber. I feel strongly about getting more women into technology and women into cyber, and I've focused a lot of my efforts in giving back to the community, and I continue to do so. And I think we, as cybersecurity experts, have an obligation to give back. We know we have a talent deficit, and we have to go and give back to the community and get more people into cyber. And if they don't want to enter the industry as a career path, then at least get them to learn about cybersecurity. And one of the most meaningful moments in my career was when I was at Palo Alto Networks, and we got the opportunity to drive the first set of cybersecurity badges for the Girl Scouts, meaning that we got a cybersecurity curriculum to every zip code in the USA from kindergarten to 12th grade. And it was the first set of cybersecurity badges. We got that, curriculum out there for people that wouldn't have access otherwise to cybersecurity education, in the hands of all these girls in different communities that started training the people in their communities. And now many of them are graduating and getting cybersecurity degrees, which is amazing to see. But I think it's that notion of giving back is so important. And that was one of the most meaningful things for me. And that I think then led to programs that initiated with the Girl Guides and more globally. And so I think to me, it's those kind of efforts that I think are really important.
I don't know, do you know that or not? But the person in cybersecurity with most followers on LinkedIn is women only, are women. Like Shira Robinoff, hey, you know that, you know her. Helen Yu. And for this magazine, the particular magazine I'm taking your interview for, and I have researched a lot of cybersecurity professionals in the world. But for that, having said that, I have learned that with the most influential cybersecurity professional in the world is women only, are women. Like top five are women. I've seen that. One or two are men. Of course, there would be men because there are only two categories of men and women. So definitely. But I have seen this that women are doing better in cybersecurity. This is my bias or something, or maybe this is my research, but literally I have researched and I have seen that there are many women professionals who are doing better, even if there's doing responsible AI thing, or this is about maybe about cybersecurity also, and maybe about this advocacy on cybersecurity or advocacy on AI thing, responsible AI thing. Women are doing better. So, do you want to say something about that, or have you any idea about that?
It's really exciting to see to me that, like I remember when I was a woman in cybersecurity, I felt like being a security engineer, like that was the highest position I was ever going to hold in cybersecurity because there weren't very many women in the field.
Yeah.
And I just think it's incredible to see so many women leaders that are so inspiring, some who have inspired me, and to like see that there's more to it than and more different career paths that we can all take. So I think it's an incredible kind of evolution that we've seen over time to see more
Yes.
women, and the numbers are low. We have a lot more work to do.
So I think I'm gonna make this a section in their magazine that women in cybersecurity, because now I'm going to I have decided 10 people. We were all like asked to interview 10 people in cybersecurity, and when I started my research, when I figured it out, then there was like four women and six men. now in cybersecurity. I'm going to interview Shira Romanoff also, and I am going to interview Helen Yu also. And you being on the panel also. So it makes four of you. So now I think it's like 40 and 60%. So in cybersecurity space, as I have been following, I think there's real woman power there. And I don't know how it happened and why it happened. I don't know though, because women are better managers. They have been doing at homes and they have been managing homes better. I always believe that women's manage what they have been doing at homes. It was full-time job, definitely, but they haven't been given credit. And of course, Indian situation, right? So I have seen my mothers, my sisters doing so, but I think now they are managing they are being CSO, like being you. So they are CSOs and of course CEOs and CFOs. So definitely said that women are getting bigger roles at industries now, and I am so proud of that because my mother is also a big officer and police in India, and she is a big officer. She is a really big rank officer in India. So I have been born and brought up by a woman. So I feel really it becomes really personal to me when I see women rising, and so kudos to you, Rinky. So so now also you were also the part of the team at eBay. If I'm Please tell me if I'm right or not. You were part of the eBay team which received from the SC Magazine award about information security team of the year. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah,
Oh.
back in this was a while back, but we worked for one of the first CISOs that was outside of banking. Incredible human, a great mentor, and he just built a super innovative program at eBay, and we won the top cybersecurity team of the year and got to represent that with SC Magazine, and it was a pretty big accolade early on to get as an organization, and this was very early days again in cyber.
Yeah, definitely. And I have also known that you have led teams at large as 500 across global regions. What's your approach to building a unified security culture? But because this is my personal question, this was not question on the board, but I really want to ask this. What's your approach to building a unified security culture across diverse geographies? Like, India, US, and I don't know what other geographies do you know, but I really want to ask that what what change it comes like when you are tackling with different geographies, different locations. Is there any change, or is there cybersecurity same everywhere?
I think the principles are the same, right? Even though the way you may approach things are different. And at the end of the day, what makes up a company, yes, it's the technology, but a lot of it is also the people. And
Yes,
you and I just spoke early on in this interview around like, you have to win the hearts and minds of people. And
definitely.
security cannot just be a grassroots effort. It's not just the security team that's driving security for a company. It's not just the technology. And I believe that security needs to be at different layers, right? So you have to win the hearts and minds, not just of the security team itself. Like you want to make sure that you're driving the team and leading the team with empathy such that they want to do good things for the company because they become champions in your different regions. But also you need top-down support, right? That you have to make sure that executive leadership really is bought into the security. That takes its own efforts. And then, of course, across different regions, you need to have like presence and make sure that you're winning the hearts and minds of those folks, that they're champions of cyber as well. And they're connected back to the core messages and programs that you're trying to drive in cyber. It's not a one-person show. It takes a village to get cybersecurity right. And to make it's like, I really truly do believe that it's everybody's responsibility to make sure they feel accountability around the safety of the data and the assets that the company's protecting.
So having said that, I really believe that budgeting in cybersecurity has been an issue, right?
What has been an issue? Sorry.
Budgeting in cybersecurity. Budgeting has been an issue. Do you feel that?
So just like anything else, like you're running a business at the end of the day, right? And depending like whether you're public or you're private, you're at the end of the day, you're servicing your customers with a product.
Hmm.
It's I see it as my job to go and raise and elevate the risks that I see in the company to leadership and make sure that there's shared accountability. And you decide either I'm going to accept the risk or I'm going to mitigate the risk. And when you decide to mitigate the risks, that might require people, might require budget. And so I think it's important to get that buy-in so that then when you request budget, that there is a way to do that, right? But I think a lot of times where people may feel that there's an issue with budget is because they feel like, oh, you've tasked me with the job of protecting all these things, and
Hmm.
you're not giving me the money to go and protect it. But
Hmm.
then there needs to be a discussion that happens to say, like, this is what I see as a risk. Do you agree or do you not agree? Let's have that discussion. If we don't agree, let's document it. Let's say that here's how somebody has decided not to fund that where it's been identified as a risk. Let's document it. Let's move on, right? So I think that those are, or we say we have the discussion and all of a sudden somebody understands, oh my gosh, we do need to go and invest in that. But like, can't just say, oh, I see a risk. I want money. Give me money to go fix it. There has to be a process established around this.
Okay, but we have seen that companies are like uh, throwing loads and loads money on consumer tech, right? But they are not. This is not such a case in cybersecurity. Do you think that cybersecurity is still has a biasness? Because considering that if we will talk about Nvidia, MediaTek, and all those giants, they are throwing tons of money because I have attended like many events around tech, and I have seen like the product we are talking just now on, like Zoom. You see, they are throwing because they just launched their a new product called Zoom Phone, and they are just collaborating their all those services in one called Zoom Phone. So they are all just throwing so much loads of money in this consumer tech. Why is that something not like something cutting edge is not happening in cybersecurity, which everyone knows? What is the reason? But everyone talks about security. Everyone is
I,
concerned about security.
we started this conversation by saying like cybersecurity is one of the top five industries that's
Yes.
booming. So like it is getting a lot of it is get it's one of the top I would say industries in terms of where investments
Yes.
are being made. And I do think there's a lot of I actually think when I look at cyber, I think like it's one of the most like you see so many new companies that are leveraging AI to build new cyber companies, and I think it's one of like we're seeing the most cutting edge tech in
Yeah.
cyber, right?
Yes.
A lot of the times, what happens is that you have to think like an attacker to build the next generation of companies. Attackers are constantly looking for new ways of getting in, and so cybersecurity is this kind of interesting industry. I think like you are seeing this disruptive like force that is coming in. People are talking about it. A lot of times we're talking at the enterprise
But
level around
what I'm trying to say is that we all know that it's happening, but why we don't have something like Zoom, Apple, Samsung happening in cybersecurity? Like why, for example, why Upwind is not the biggest company which is getting a lot of funds and lot of ideas and and why we are not having such a biggest cybersecurity which everyone knows, like which is popular in masses? Why there is no such cybersecurity company when people are concerned about security, and still we don't have many big cybersecurity companies in the world which everyone knows. I'm a cybersecurity journalist, so I definitely know that, but I'm talking about masses, like common masses, which they don't have no idea what is happening around cybersecurity because it is not covered, because it is not covered in local media and whatever things. They cover Apple, they cover this Zoom and Samsung and Hawaii, whatever you say, but they are not covering Upwind. They are not covering tax security. Well, like tax security is a company in India, a big cyber security company in India, but it is not very popular among local masses. But still, companies are is concerned about their security, cyber security practices. So, what is this issue
I
here?
yeah, I think you're comparing apples and oranges, right? So I think it's two different things. When
Yeah.
consumers care about Apple and Zoom. Why? Because they use those products.
Yes.
Whereas security, there is an expectation that it's
But
embedded
everybody,
into the products that they're consuming.
you see Twitter, you see LinkedIn. Everyone is concerned about their data security things. Everybody is writing posts about better data security practices. Everybody is writing about that. Everybody is concerned about that. Governments are talking about that. But still, we don't have a big cybersecurity company which is shining. What is the thing here? Because please don't take me wrong, but
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about cybersecurity, so that's why it's coming there. And I really wanted to this interview to be very candid, so that's why.
Yeah, no, I know we only have a few more minutes
Yeah,
left,
yeah,
but I'll just share my high level thoughts on this.
yeah.
I think that we do need to do a lot. There's a lot of work. I see like young kids and the elderly, you see the attacks against them because of the lack of cybersecurity education. I think
Yes,
that needs to happen at a very early age.
yes,
Kids get uh, they get devices in their hands when they're 2 or 3 years old, maybe even earlier, and yet like don't understand the privacy and security implications. I think there's a lot of education that needs to happen. I think our schooling system needs to embed cybersecurity education, just
yes,
like they do about bullying and other things. So I think that's a whole movement that needs to happen. I think there's programs like what I mentioned
yes,
with the Girl Scouts and cyber badges and things that are happening, but it needs to happen in a more kind of mandated
yes,
way. In terms of companies, I think it's great that consumers are concerned about privacy because they will push companies, that consumer companies, to be accountable for cybersecurity. One of the reasons that I joined Upwind is because I do think cybersecurity needs to be thought of differently.
yes.
I think there's going to be a massive data explosion as we walk into this new world of AI and agentic programs. And I think
Yeah,
that that explosion that our cybersecurity products today are not well equipped to handle. And with what Upwind, what we're championing is that you're not doing security well unless you have security at runtime, and you have to be thinking about runtime and having the protection in real time. It's why I joined Upwind after being a public company, multi-time public company CISO. I joined Upwind Security because I know what the problems practitioners face today. This is one of the fastest growing cloud security platforms, and I
yeah.
think it's going to disrupt. And hopefully, that will be a product that everybody talks about. I think there's a lot of work to be done in this space.
Definitely. That I think that's I wanted to hear. And after all, but my last question would be not around cybersecurity, but somehow related to cybersecurity. What do you think about AGI?
About AGI.
Yeah, what do you think, like how it's going to impact cybersecurity in future? Because AGI is a big thing, a big thing coming up, and I think most people about there's one person called Godfather of AI, and I was listening to his podcast, and he said that when AGI will come into effect, and it's gonna disrupt things, every industry like anything else, and of course it's gonna happen in cybersecurity industry so I know there's no particular answer to this, but still, our viewers would be interested in knowing that how you think AGI is going to
Yeah,
impact, yeah, impact our
I think it
cybersecurity.
already is impacting, and I think the more already thinking about
Yes,
this, and are building for the future, because I
definitely,
do believe that's the future of every industry now. And that's one of the reasons I joined Upwind, that they 3 years ago were already thinking about this future and how we need to think about security differently in that future. So I think it's moving faster than any other transformation that we've seen.
definitely, definitely, definitely. And I think we are done now, and
I
I'm
know,
done.
I know we're at time, Prabhat.
I think,
Yeah,
yeah, I think we are done, and
I
I
really
also.
appreciate the interview. It was
And it was, I though I was thinking about this interview since last 1 week, and now it's happened, and I'm so happy. Earlier, I was so nervous that how it's gonna be, but I think kudos to you. You made it every clear, and your knowledge, your I really appreciate that the knowledge, the experience you come with. It's just surreal, and I just need to say, Rinky. Thank you so much for joining me. And it is like it's gonna be highlight of my career today. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. Thank you so much.
an honor. Thank you, Prabhat. Take
Thank
care.
you. I take care. Bye bye. Bye bye. Nice talking to you. Bye.